We've all seen the pictures. A cute little boat with a pair of giraffes sticking their heads out of the roof. But the reality? The reality was a nightmare. 8 people trapped in a floating wooden box for 371 days. No sunlight, the stench of thousands of animals, and the deafening roar of a planet being torn apart outside. This wasn't a peaceful voyage. It was the ultimate test of human endurance. Today, we're stepping inside the Ark to experience what it was actually like for the last family on Earth. The first 40 days weren't just rain. The Bible says the fountains of the great deep broke open. This means volcanic activity and tsunamis. Inside the Ark, it would have been pitch black. Imagine the noise, the screams of thousands of frightened animals, the constant shifting of weight as the boat pitched in massive waves, and the smell. With limited ventilation, the ammonia from the waste would have been suffocating. Noah's family weren't zookeepers. They were survivalists in a biological pressure cooker. The rain stopped after 40 days, but they didn't leave. They stayed on that boat for another 331 days. Think about that. No news, no dry land, and the crushing realization that everyone and everything they ever knew, their friends, their home, their entire civilization, was gone. Scholars call this survivor's guilt, and Noah's family was the first to ever feel it on a global scale. How do you maintain your sanity when you're the only 8 heartbeats left in a world of water? How did they eat? How they breathe? Genesis tells us the Ark had one window, but it was at the very top. This means for a year, they had almost no horizon line. Recent studies suggest the Ark's design used a moon pool, a hole in the center of the floor, to help with air circulation and waste disposal using the motion of the waves. It was a masterpiece of ancient engineering, but for the 8 people living it, it was a 24/7 job of feeding, cleaning, and praying the wood wouldn't snap. The hardest part wasn't the storm, it was the waiting. When the raven and the dove were sent out, it was a desperate test for life. When they finally stepped out onto Mount Ararat, the world wasn't a lush paradise. It was a muddy, desolate graveyard. The psychological transition from the old world to the new world is where the real story of Noah begins. They didn't just survive a flood, they survived the end of the world. If you were stuck on that boat, what's the one thing you'd miss most from the world before? And do you think you could have handled a year in the dark? Let me know in the comments. In our next video, we're looking at the giants that lived before the flood. So hit subscribe so you don't miss it.